Hi, this is Chip Baltimore with the Taxpayers Protection Alliance. I want to give you a little case study about a community we saw here in Iowa and the perils and risks and challenges associated with a community trying to build and run its own broadband system. A few years ago, the city of Charles City, Iowa, population of about 7,400 people, started investigating whether or not they should build their own broadband system and run it as a municipality, a municipal utility. So they hired a consultant, as these places always do, who charged them about $30,000, as I recall, to do a preliminary study. The preliminary study at that point in time showed that the cost of constructing this broadband system would be around $11.5 million, and that they'd have to borrow about $12 million in order to make it work. And at that point in time, they calculated the break-even market share that they would have to have in order to break even on this system at about 42% of the entire market. The entire market at that point in time, and still today, is around 3,400 households. Those numbers kind of stayed in place as the city got deeper into it. The city decided to proceed to do a feasibility study, design the system, create a business plan. The business plan was just released this past March of 2020. Now, unfortunately, the city utility deemed the business plan to be some sort of trade secret, so they kept it secret. Wouldn't let anybody see it. We sent in a FOIA request asking to see it. They wouldn't do it. Nevertheless, in the utility board meetings that were coming out, the costs of this system were increasing. Back in November or December of 2019, the cost jumped up to about $13 million. Then in the late spring, early summer of this year, the cost was estimated to be about $18 million. Now we are in October of 2020, and the city of Charles City just authorized I should say, not the city, the utility board just authorized borrowing or issuing revenue bonds to the tune of $22 million to build this system and get it up and running. Now, remarkably, throughout this summer, the consultants were telling me and others in the community that 40 to 45% of the market would still sufficiently generate enough revenue to make this system work, even though they were now borrowing nearly double the amount that they were before. Lo and behold, at the last Board of Trustees meeting a couple of days ago, the business plan was finally released as part of the bond offering statement. They finally make it public with less than 24 hours before they vote to issue $22 million of debt. Nevertheless, it's very revealing. And what that shows is that their business plan shows that instead of a 40 to 42% take rate, they're estimating 60 to 65% take rate within a few years in order to make this thing viable and sustainable going forward. So I say this simply to bring it forward an illustration. And the illustration is consultants make remarkable predictions or projections or estimates or quite frankly just flat out misstatements early on in the process. In Charles City case, they were told it was $11.5 million. Now it's, they're borrowing $22 million. No one has been able to or willing to explain why the original estimates were so far off. They were only going to borrow $12 million, if you recall, back in 2018 was the consultant's projection or estimate, and now they're borrowing nearly double that. And so it's unfortunate that the city of Charles City is moving forward with this, but I think it bodes as a warning and a red flag to any community out there that's looking to start one of these things. When the consultants give you those numbers at early stages, don't anticipate that those numbers are going to be the final numbers, because most of the time they really aren't. And God bless the people in Charles City. Hope that actually goes well. But when you look at how badly those initial projections were missed in the final numbers, it does not look well for them. So again, that's just a little case study, a little example that I want people to be aware of, and hopefully you'll be aware of that in other communities as well.